I had a teacher crush. I've only ever had one. It was very mild, so it wasn't a problem. It never like she was a substitute teacher, so it it wasn't really like a big problem anyway. Like I didn't see her very much, and in fact, the crush went away after the second time I saw her. So the thing is, I'll describe her and like how she looks and how basic things like that. So she was a young black British woman, um, kind of petite, like pretty thin and kind of short, but still taller than me because I was in middle school. This was a middle school thing, so yeah, like definitely this would have been inappropriate for her to like do anything, you know. It's not as if I wanted that. Like it wasn't like I was like, fuck, I really need to hook up with this grown woman, you know. It wasn't like that. It was just like, damn, she's kind of hot, you know. Jesus, man. Gosh, you know. Golly, you know. And like the thing about it is she had such an aura about her. It was her accent really because like I said she was British, and it terrified the class. Like, see, when I was in middle school, usually the the classes would be pretty loud because we're kids, you know. We're loud, we're noisy, we're silly. And but like I remember when she subbed for the class, it was so quiet you could hear a pin drop because uh because I think it was because of her accent. Like uh British accents are pretty intimidating to Americans, especially like American children, and especially like poor American children from the South. Like, the stereotypes of like a Southern American are kind of like the opposite of the stereotypes of like a British person, at least from an American's point of view. Like, if you're British, you probably would be like, "What? That's silly," because you're just like anybody else, really. Like, you're just another person. But I swear to God, when you're a kid and you hear a British person in real life, it's like, holy shit, that person's fancy. Damn, you know? Like, her accent wasn't particularly posh or particularly not posh. It was kind of just like. I mean, I think she was from London. She had like the modern kind of neutral kind of London accent. It's hard to describe. I don't know what it's called for one thing. I wouldn't know how to like put it in like more accurate terms, but I suspect she was probably from London because it didn't sound particularly like northern to me. But I don't know because it's been a long time, and I also don't know because I'm American and I don't know all the everything. But um, it was very fun to just like be in her class and hear her talk. That was enjoyable. But the second time she subbed for the class, God, uh, I just remember there was some assignment we were supposed to do, and like I for some reason wasn't able to do it, and I tried to ask her for help, and she wasn't very helpful. So I wrote a like a instead of doing the work, because I was a real rabble rouser back in my middle school days, man. I was a fighter, you know. Um, instead I wrote a letter, well, not a letter, but like a paper, a writing, an essay. I don't know what to call it. I wrote some words and shit about how the substitute had wronged me. You know, how she didn't help me with my work and how I didn't learn anything in her class as a result. And I was gonna give that to the teacher. And then I asked at the end of class, I asked the substitute teacher, whom I had previously had a crush on and had just lost the crush because she was mean. I asked her, I was like, are we gonna turn in the work at the end of class? And she's like, no, you keep it and you turn it in like, when your teacher gets back or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. By the way, I just wrote a letter about how you didn't help me at all in class, and how I learned nothing, and and she said something like, oh, well, at least you practiced your calligraphy. There you go. See, that's the thing. I did not get it at the time, because obviously now I look back and it's like, oh, she was doing the British thing where you're like a little snarky one, you know, a little snarky, little cheeky kind of thing where she's doing the sarcasm or whatever, you know. And I didn't recognize that because I was American and I was a child, and that is really tough. You don't know the struggle. You don't know the struggle unless you've been an American child. The stupidity, man. You know? The stupidity. So, so yeah, it went right over my head, and I was just like, I already know how to write. Like, literally, that was my response. She's like, at least you've practiced your calligraphy. Except she said it in her accent, but I'm not going to do it because it's, I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to do that. It would be embarrassing. Anyway, and then I was like, yeah, well, I already know how to write. Like, yeah. Just in hindsight, that makes me seem so stupid, you know? But it's just, at the same time, that's kind of funny. And that's like, I don't know. I can't help but look back and smile at that. Like, I kind of love my younger self, you know? I don't think that I acted in a way that was particularly good or bad in that scenario. I was just kind of being myself, and that's, you know, I do think she was unhelpful, and I think that her lack of respect for me was lame. Like, respect is earned, and it's best earned by, you know, at least showing some first. Like, if you're in a position of power, I think you should go out of your way to be respectful to those that are, you know, beneath you in the hierarchy. Because, like, if you have to teach a class, you might as well, like, try to connect with these people that are being forced to spend, like, much of their day with you most of the time. You know what I mean? Like, we're not even getting paid for this shit. And I'm sorry if, like, this seems very juvenile to you, like, if I sound like a fucking brat, a spoiled brat or whatever, but, like, no, like, you gotta give more effort. She was not trying. She was just, I think she was on her phone the whole time. Or, like, at least on the computer or something. I don't know, man. She was not attentive. And I know that, like, that's usually okay with substitutes, but it's just, like, you know, I actually was going to do the work, but she didn't even help me, you know? It fucking sucked. So yeah, and I don't have a crush on that woman anymore. I did completely lose all feelings after that. And I don't think I saw her ever again. So yeah, I wonder where she is now. Wonder if she's still pretty. I wonder if she's still British. Who knows? Bye.